Good morning. We are in our scripture study, Alma chapter 56 of the Book of Mormon. And this is one of the funnest, one of my favorite chapters, because Helaman is recounting the story of these 2,000 young men that he's gotten and what they've done with their duties here as warriors. This is the faith of Helaman is astounding. And I just love this. So let's jump in and talk about what happens with the 2,000 stripling warriors. These warriors are the sons of the Anti-Nephi Lehis. Remember who they are. The Anti-Nephi Lehis they were Lamanites, and they were absolutely incredible warriors. They were bloodthirsty. They spent their entire lives learning and practicing and participating and enjoying the art of war. And when the sons of Mosiah went on their missions, they were touched and they were changed and they were converted to the gospel, and they changed their lives and buried their weapons of war. And now they've made a promise to God. They've made a covenant with God that they won't go to war ever again because they've been healed by the Savior's atonement, and they don't want to break that covenant to never go to war again. But that doesn't stop war from happening in their land. And so instead of them breaking their covenant to go to war, Helaman convinces them not to. And instead they send their sons to defend the people. 2,000 is not a significant force compared to the size of the armies that they're talking about. But 2,000 is a great help. And especially these particular 2,000 are remarkable men because of the faith that they have. It underscores the tremendous power in faith. When the Savior said that if you had the faith the size of a grain of mustard seed, that you could move mountains, he was not wrong. And these guys have some pretty remarkable faith. Let's jump into it. Alma chapter 56. And now it came to pass, in the commencement of the 30th year of the reign of the judges, on the second day in the first month, Moroni received an epistle from Helaman, stating the affairs of the people in that quarter of the land. And these are the words which he wrote, saying, My dearly beloved brother Moroni, as well in the Lord as in the tribulations of our warfare, behold, my beloved brother, I have somewhat to tell you concerning our warfare in this part of the land. Behold, 2,000 of the sons of those men whom Ammon brought down out of the land of Nephi. Now ye have known that these were descendants of Laman, who was the eldest son of our father Lehi. Now I need not rehearse unto you concerning their traditions or their unbelief, for thou knowest concerning all these things. Therefore it sufficeth me that I tell you that 2,000 of these young men have taken their weapons of war, and would that I should be their leader. And we have come forth to defend our country. And now ye also know concerning the covenant which their fathers made, that they would not take up their weapons of war against their brethren to shed blood. But in the 26th year, when they saw our afflictions and our tribulations for them, they were about to break the covenant which they had made, to take up their weapons of war in our defense. But I would not suffer them that they should break this covenant which they had made, supposing that God would strengthen us insomuch that we should not suffer more because of the fulfilling of the oath which they had taken. Now, I want you to think about this for just a minute. Helaman is not ignorant to what he's about to face. We've got the Lamanites stirred up by dissenters from the Nephites, as well as Amalekites and Zoramites, and some of these people who are just hardened, hate-filled, bloodthirsty enemy. This enemy is formidable, and they are innumerable. And they're going to come and fight the Nephites, and we've got a people who used to be Lamanites, who probably were some of the greatest warriors of the Lamanites. They had practiced all their lives, and Helaman turns down their support. He turns them away because he expects that if they keep their covenant with God, he will be more blessed and more protected than if they break their covenant with God. That is faith. Helaman shows a remarkable amount of faith. It's just incredible. How many of us, would it not be tempting to say, yes, I need help, and here's this whole group of people that would help me? Probably thousands of them that would help me to be able to fight this war. Helaman wasn't the one that made the promise. It was these people. But his faith is so strong in God and in their covenant with God that he will not allow them to join him to defend his people in battle. That's probably why he has this marvelous opportunity to lead these 2,000 stripling warriors. God is granting him an incredible gift because he has such great faith in him. Verse 9, but behold, here is one thing in which we may have great joy. For behold, in the 26th year, I, Helaman, did march at the head of these 2,000 young men to the city of Judea to assist Antipas, whom ye had appointed a leader over the people over that part of the land. And I did join my 2,000 sons, for they are worthy to be called sons, to the army of Antipas, in which strength Antipas did rejoice exceedingly. For behold, his army had been reduced by the Lamanites, because their forces had slain a vast number of our men, for which cause we have to mourn. Nevertheless, we may console ourselves in this point, that they have died in the cause of their country and their God, yea, and they are happy. Again, a great deal of faith, And the Lamanites had also retained many prisoners, of all whom are chief captains, for none other have they spared alive. And we suppose that they are now at this time in the land of Nephi. It is so, if they are not slain. Boy. And now, these are the cities which the Lamanites have obtained possession by the shedding of blood of so many of our valiant men. The land of Manti, or the city of Manti, and the city of Zeezrom, and the city of Cumeni, and the city of Antipara. Interesting that they have a city of Zeezrom. Remember, we talked about him. And these are the cities which they possessed when I arrived at the city of Judea, and I found Antipas and his men toiling with their might to fortify the city. Yea, and they were depressed in body as well as in spirit, for they had fought valiantly by day and toiled by night to maintain their cities. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yea, and they were depressed in body as well as in spirit, for they had fought valiantly by day and toiled by night to maintain their cities, and thus they had suffered great afflictions of every kind. And now they were determined to conquer in this place or die. Therefore you may well suppose that this little force which I brought with me, yea, those sons of mine, gave them great hopes and much joy. This is one of those little gifts from God. These men are fighting, they're fighting by day and working by night to keep safe their country and their people. And as a, hey, don't forget I'm with you reminder, God sends them this little band of sons that are filled with faith and hope, and a man named Helaman who is also filled with faith and hope to bring their testimonies and their strength to support these men who have been so valiant. Verse 18, and now it came to pass that when the Lamanites saw that Antipas had received a greater strength to his army, they were compelled by the orders of Ammoron to not come against the city of Judea or against us to battle. That's an immediate fruit, immediate miracle that they received. Otherwise, it makes you wonder what Antipas and his men would have faced. And thus we were favored of the Lord, for they had come upon us in this, had they come upon us in this our weakness, they might have perhaps destroyed our little army, but thus we were preserved. And they were commanded by Ammoron to maintain those cities which they had taken, and thus ended the 26th year. And in the commencement of the 27th year, we had prepared our city and ourselves for defense. And we were desirous that the Lamanites should come upon us, for we were not desirous to make an attack upon them in their strongholds. And it came to pass that we kept spies round about to watch the movements of the Lamanites, that they might not pass us by night nor by day to make an attack upon our other cities which were on the northward. For we knew in those cities they were not sufficiently strong to meet them. Therefore we were desirous, if they should pass by us, to fall upon them in their rear, and thus bring them up in their rear at the same time as they were met in the front. We supposed that we could overpower them, but behold, we were disappointed in this our desire. They durst not pass us by with their whole army, neither durst they with a part, lest they should not be sufficiently strong and they should fall. Neither durst they march down against the city of Zarahemla, neither durst they cross the head of Sidon over to the city of Nephihah. And thus with their forces they were determined to maintain those cities which they had taken. And now it came to pass in the 2nd month of this year, they were brought unto us there was brought unto us many provisions from the fathers of those my 2,000 sons. Isn't this beautiful? I can just imagine from the perspective of those fathers of the 2,000 sons, they ache because they can't defend their families because of the promise that they made. They ache because their sons are doing their job and they love their sons and they know their sons are young and completely unacquainted. Think about it. I mean, these boys were too young to make the promise when they were kids. That means they probably did not know very much about swords and spears and weaponry and shields and that kind of thing because all of that was buried because their fathers had made a promise. These sons grew up not knowing war and not knowing weaponry and not knowing how to defend themselves. And so their fathers are going to be very worried. And so when their sons go to war, their fathers send many provisions to help support them. And I can see the heart and the love and the hope going into every single package. It just brings joy to my heart to think about those fathers reaching out to support their sons in their effort so that they can maintain their covenant with their God. It is so heartwarming. It is so beautiful. Verse 28, and also there were sent 2,000 men unto us from the land of Zarahemla, and thus we were prepared with 10,000 men and provisions for them, and also for their wives and their children. And the Lamanites, thus seeing our forces increase daily, and provisions arrive for our support, they began to be fearful and began to sally forth, if it were possible, to put an end to our receiving provisions and strength. Now, when we saw the Lamanites begin to grow uneasy on this wise, we were desirous to bring a stratagem into effect upon them. Therefore, Antipas ordered that I should march forth with my little sons to a neighboring city, as if we were carrying provisions to a neighboring city. That is a dangerous assignment, because what's going to happen? 2,000 young men unacquainted with war, marching past and drawing out the entire army of the Lamanites, one of the strongest armies of the Lamanites. That's a dangerous assignment. Verse 31, and we were to march near the city of Antipara, as if we were going to the city beyond, in the borders by the seashore. And it came to pass that we did march forth, as if with our provisions to go to that city. And it came to pass that Antipas did march forth with a part of his army, leaving the remainder to maintain the city. But he did not march forth until I had gone forth with my little army, and came near the city of Antipara. And now in the city of Antipara were stationed the strongest army of the Lamanites, yea, the most numerous. Wow. The faith of these guys is astounding. And it came to pass that when they had been informed by their spies, they came forth with their army and marched against us. And it came to pass that we did flee before them northward, and thus we did lead away the most powerful army of the Lamanites. Twice in a couple of verses here. This is the most powerful army of the Lamanites going against this little teeny force of 2,000 young men who don't even know how to fight. Oh my goodness. Yea, even to a considerable distance, insomuch that when they saw the army of Antipas pursuing them with their might, they did not turn to the right nor to the left, but pursued with their march in a straight course after us. And as we suppose, it was their intent to slay us before Antipas should overtake them, and this that they might not be surrounded by our people. That's totally reasonable military mindset. And now Antipas, beholding our danger, did speed the march of his army, but behold, it was night. Therefore they did not overtake us, neither did Antipas overtake them. Therefore we did camp for the night. Okay, laying the scenario here. We have this little teeny army of nobodies who don't know what they're doing. We have the most powerful army of the Lamanites in that part of the land for sure, pursuing them. They want to overtake them so they can kill them before they turn back to the army of Antipas. And Antipas sees the danger, and so they're rushing as fast as they can, which is wearing out their soldiers. So if the Lamanites accomplish what they're trying to do, if they hit the 2,000 stripling warriors first, they'll wipe them out. Then they'll turn to fight Antipas, which they will be in better shape because Antipas will be worn out by that point. Yeah, this is a sound strategy on the part of the Lamanites. Listen to what happens. Verse 38, and now Antipas, beholding our danger, did speed the march of his army. Behold, it was night, therefore they did not overtake us. Neither did Antipas overtake them, therefore we did camp for the night. And it came to pass that before the dawn of the morning, behold, the Lamanites were pursuing us. Now we were not sufficiently strong to contend with them. Yea, I would not suffer that my little sons should fall into their hands. Therefore we did continue our march, and we took our march into the wilderness. Now they durst not turn to the right nor to the left, lest they should be surrounded. Neither would I turn to the right nor to the left, lest they should overtake me. And we could not stand against them, but be slain. And they would make their escape, and thus we did flee all that day into the wilderness, even till it was dark. And it came to pass that again, when the light of the morning came, we saw the Lamanites upon us, and we did flee before them. But it came to pass that they did not pursue us far before they halted. And it was in the morning of the 3rd day of the 7th month. They're giving us a date again. And now, whither they were overtaken by Antipas, we knew not. But I said unto my men, Behold, we know not, but they have halted for the purpose that we should come against them, that they might catch us in their snare. Therefore, what say ye, my sons? Will you go against them to battle? And now I say unto you, my beloved brother Moroni, that never had I seen so great courage, yea, not amongst all the Nephites. For as I had ever called them my sons, for they were all very young, all of them very young, even so they said unto me, Father, behold, our God is with us, and he will not suffer that we should fall. Then let us go forth. We would not slay our brethren if they would let us alone. Therefore, let us go, lest they should overpower the army of Antipas. Now they never had fought, yet they did not fear death, and they did think more upon the liberty of their fathers than they did upon their lives. Yea, they had been taught by their mothers that if they did not doubt, God would deliver them. This is just the most incredible thing. And they rehearsed unto me the words of their mothers, saying, We do not doubt, our mothers knew it. And it came to pass, this underscores the value of mothers and fathers. They thought upon the liberties of their fathers. Their fathers were sending them goods and things to help them. Their mothers had taught them and prepared them. This is such a beautiful thing. And they were ready to face the most powerful army of the Lamanites. It is just incredible. Outnumbered, who knows by how many, probably 3-1. They are not warriors. They're ready to face the most powerful warriors of the land. It is just astounding. This situation is remarkable. And listen to what happens. And it came to pass, verse 49, that I did return with my 2,000 against these Lamanites who had pursued us. And now behold, the armies of Antipas had overtaken them, and a terrible battle had commenced. The army of Antipas, being weary because of their long march in so short a space of time, were about to fall into the hands of the Lamanites. And had I not returned with my 2,000, they would have obtained their purpose. For Antipas had fallen by the sword, and many of his leaders because of their weariness, which was occasioned by the speed of their march. Therefore the men of Antipas, being confused because of the fall of their leaders, began to give way before the Lamanites. And it came to pass that the Lamanites took courage and began to pursue them. And thus were the Lamanites pursuing them with great vigor, when Helaman came upon them in their rear with his 2,000, and began to slay them exceedingly, insomuch. All right, listen to this. The Lamanites were pursuing them with great vigor when Helaman came upon their rear with his 2,000 and began to slay them exceedingly, insomuch that the whole army of the Lamanites halted and turned upon Helaman. His warriors hit them so hard that the entire army stopped what they were doing to turn around and say, what in the world is this? Now, when the people of Antipas saw that the Lamanites had turned them about, they gathered together their men and came again upon the rear of the Lamanites. And now it came to pass that we, the people of Nephi, the people of Antipas, and I with my 2,000 did surround the Lamanites and did slay them, yea, insomuch that they were compelled to deliver up their weapons of war and also themselves as prisoners of war. The most powerful army of the Lamanites. And now it came to pass that when they had surrendered themselves up unto us, behold, I numbered those young men who had fought with me, fearing lest there were many of them slain. But behold, to my great joy, there had not one soul of them fallen to the earth. Yea, never were men known to have fought with such miraculous strength, and with such mighty power did they fall upon the Lamanites, that they did frighten them. And for this cause did the Lamanites deliver themselves up as prisoners of war. With such mighty power did they fall upon the strongest, the most powerful army of the Lamanites, that they did frighten them. And because of that, the Lamanites did deliver themselves up prisoners of war. Those 2,000 sons had the power of God with them, and the Lamanites could see it. And the most powerful army of the Lamanites surrendered. It's just astounding. And as we had no place for our prisoners that we could guard them or keep them from the armies of the Lamanites, therefore we sent them to the land of Zarahemla. And a part of those men who were not slain of Antipas with them, and the remainder I took and joined them to my stripling Ammonites, and took our march back to the city of Judea. Amazing. Amazing. Absolutely astounding. And I am positive, I feel it. Every single word of it is absolutely true. I know that it is true. This is exactly how God works. When we go forward, when we keep our covenants, when we face the challenges with faith, even if we are not ready, even if we are not sufficient. Ready is the wrong word. They were prepared. But even if we are not sufficient, even if we don't even know what we're doing, through small and simple means, the Lord performs his miracles and accomplishes his purposes. It is astounding. It is so beautiful. Oh, how long is chapter 57? I wonder if we could get through it. I love this stuff. Why don't we give it a shot, huh? It's not too bad. 30-something verses. And now it came to pass that I received an epistle from Ammoron the king, stating that if I would deliver up those prisoners of war whom we had taken, that he would deliver up the city of Antipara unto us. Hey, you know that city you just cleared out and destroyed my strongest army? I'll give you that city that you just won. But I sent an epistle unto the king that we were sure our forces were sufficient to take the city of Antipara by our force. And by delivering up the prisoners for that city, we should suppose ourselves unwise, that we would only deliver up our prisoners on exchange. And Ammoron refused mine epistle, for he would not exchange prisoners. Therefore we began to make preparations to go against the city of Antipara. But the people of Antipara did leave the city and fled into other cities, which they had possession of, to fortify them. And thus the city of Antipara fell into our hands. I think Ammoron knew that he just lost his most powerful army. And I think the people could see that they had a legitimate force to deal with. Thus ended the 28th year of the reign of the judges, and it came to pass in the commencement of the 29th year, we received a supply of provisions and also an addition to our army from the land of Zarahemla and from the land round about, to the number of 6,000 men, besides 60 of the sons of the Ammonites who had come to join their brethren, and my little band of 2,000. And now behold, we were strong, yea, and we had also plenty of provisions brought unto us. Again, those fathers. And it came to pass that it was our desire to wage a battle with the army which was placed to protect the city Cumeni. And now behold, I will show unto you that we soon accomplished our desire, yea, with our strong force, or with a part of our strong force, we did surround by night the city of Cumeni. And a little before we were to receive a supply of, they were to receive a supply of provisions. Perfect timing, because they're waiting for food and for weapons and so on and so forth. And their city was besieged just before that happened. Excellent timing. And it came to pass that we did camp round about the city for many nights. But we did sleep upon our swords and keep guards, that the Lamanites could not come upon us by night and slay us, which they attempted many times. But as many times as they attempted this, their blood was spilt. At length their provisions did arrive, and they were about to enter the city by night. And we, instead of being Lamanites, were Nephites. Therefore we did take them and their provisions. And notwithstanding the Lamanites being cut off from their support after this manner, they were still determined to maintain the city. Therefore it became expedient that we should take those provisions and send them to Judea, and our prisoners to the land of Zarahemla. And it came to pass that not many days had passed away before the Lamanites began to lose all hopes of succor. Therefore they yielded up the city into our hands, and thus we had accomplished our designs in obtaining the city of Cumeni. But it came to pass that our prisoners were so numerous that notwithstanding the enormity of our numbers, we were obliged to employ all our force to keep them, or to put them to death. For behold, they would break out in great numbers and would fight with stones and with clubs or whatsoever they could get into their hands. Insomuch that we did slay upwards of 2,000 of them after they had surrendered themselves prisoners of war. Therefore it became expedient for us that we should put an end to their lives or guard them sword in hand down to the land of Zarahemla. And also our provisions were not any more than sufficient for our own people, notwithstanding that which we had taken from the Lamanites. And now in those critical circumstances, it became a very serious matter to determine concerning these prisoners of war. Nevertheless, we did resolve to send them down to the land of Zarahemla. Therefore we selected a part of our men and gave them charge over our prisoners to go down to the land of Zarahemla. That doesn't work out very well. But it came to pass that on the morrow they did return, and now behold, we did not inquire of them concerning the prisoners, for behold, the Lamanites were upon us, and they returned in season to save us from falling into their hands. For behold, Ammoron had sent to their support a new supply of provisions, and also a numerous army of men. And it came to pass that those men whom we sent with the prisoners did arrive in season to check them, as they were about to overpower us. But behold, my little band of 2,060 fought most desperately. Yea, they were firm before the Lamanites, and did administer death unto all those who opposed them. My goodness, it's awesome. Remarkable. And as the remainder of our army were about to give way before the Lamanites, behold, those 2,060 were firm and undaunted. Yea, and they did obey and observe to perform every word of command with exactness. Yea, and even according to their faith it was done unto them. And I did remember the words which they said unto me, that their mothers had taught them. And now behold, it was these my sons, for those men who had been selected to convey the prisoners, to whom we owe this great victory. It was these my sons and those men who had been selected to convey the prisoners, to whom we owe this great victory. For it was they who did beat the Lamanites. Therefore they were driven back to the city of Manti. And we retained our city Cumeni, and were not all destroyed by the sword. Nevertheless, we had suffered great loss. And it came to pass that after the Lamanites had fled, I immediately gave orders that my men who had been wounded should be taken from among the dead, and caused that their wounds should be dressed. And it came to pass that there were 200 out of my 2,060 who had fainted because of the loss of blood. Nevertheless, according to the goodness of God, and to our great astonishment, and also the joy of our whole army, there was not one soul of them who did perish. Yea, and neither was there one soul among them who had not received many wounds. And now their preservation was astonishing to our whole army. Yea, and that they should be spared, while there was 1,000 of our brethren who were slain. And we do justly ascribe it to the miraculous power of God, because of their exceeding faith in that which they had been taught to believe, that there was a just God, and whosoever did not doubt that they should be preserved by his marvelous power. Now this was the faith of those of whom I have spoken. They are young, and their minds are firm, and they do put their trust in God continually. Remarkable. And now it came to pass that after we had thus taken care of our wounded men, and buried our dead, and also the dead of the Lamanites, who were many, behold, we did inquire of Gid concerning the prisoners whom they had started to go down to the land of Zarahemla with. Now Gid was the chief captain over the band, who was appointed to guard them down to the land. And now these are the words which Gid said unto me. Behold, we did start to go down to the land of Zarahemla with our prisoners, and it came to pass that we did meet the spies of our armies, who had been sent to watch the camp of the Lamanites. And they cried unto us, saying, Behold, the armies of the Lamanites are marching toward the city of Cumeni. And behold, they will fall upon them, yea, and they will destroy our people. And it came to pass that our prisoners did hear their cries, which caused them to take courage, and they did rise up in rebellion against us. And it came to pass that because of their rebellion, we did cause that our swords should come upon them. And it came to pass that they did in a body run upon our swords, in the which the greater number of them were slain, and the remainder of them broke through and fled from us. And behold, when they had fled, we could not overtake them, we took our march with speed toward the city of Cumeni. And behold, we did arrive in time that we might assist our brethren in preserving the city. And behold, we are again delivered out of the hands of our enemies. And blessed is the name of our God, for behold, it is he that has delivered us, yea, and has done this great thing for us. And now it came to pass that when I, Helaman, had heard these words of Gid, I was filled with exceeding joy because of the goodness of God in preserving us, that we might not all perish. And I trust that the souls of them who have been slain have entered into the rest of their God. I am so grateful for this stuff. I love the Book of Mormon. Oh, I love the Book of Mormon. I hope you feel the wonderful strength that's here and the lessons of faith. I know that it is true, and I share that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.